in Brussels this afternoon, local time. The Bangladeshi expatriates residing in Belgium and different European countries organized the reception. In her speech, the Prime Minister asked the Awami League leaders and activists to showcase the tremendous development of Bangladesh carried out in the last 15 years. She asked all concerned to make sure none of the killers and terrorists can play ducks and drakes with the fate of the people again, pointing the finger at BNP and Jamaat.
আজকে বাংলাদেশ এগিয়ে যাচ্ছে এই অগ্রযাত্রা অব্যাহত রাখতে হলে সবাইকে নৌকা মার্কাই ভোট দিতে হবে তো ভোট দিয়ে যাতে আমাদের উন্নয়নের ধারাটা অব্যাহত থাকে ওই খাই পার্টি এরা জন্য না আসতে পারে সন্ত্রাসী গ্রেনেড হামলাকারী এরা জন্য না আসতে পারে এদের আসারও কথা না তাদের হচ্ছে ইলেকশন না করে ইলেকশনটাকে বানচাল করে দেওয়া ইলেকশন যেন বানচাল করতে না পারে বা প্রশ্নবিদ্ধ করতে না পারে সেদিকেই সবাইকে সচেতন থাকতে হবে যে যেখানে আছে আপনারা যেখানে থাকেন আপনাদের ওই এলাকার যারা নির্বাচিত প্রতিনিধি এই দেশে বা প্রবাসে আপনারা তাদের সঙ্গে একটু যোগাযোগ রেখে কারণ আপনারাও ভোটারদের উপরে তার নির্ভরশীল কাজে আপনাদের যার যার স্ব দেশে স্ব এলাকায় যারা এরকম আছে তাদের সাথে যোগাযোগটা রেখে বাংলাদেশের উন্নয়নের ইতিহাসটা বাংলাদেশের মানুষের যে আত্মত্যাগের ইতিহাসটা সেটা আপনারা তুলে ধরবেন।
Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina called upon Belgium and Luxembourg to continue tariff and quota-free access of Bangladeshi goods to their markets till 2032 under the EBA Everything But Arms scheme. The Bangladesh Premier made the appeal to Belgium Prime Minister Alexander De Croo and Luxembourg Prime Minister Xavier Bettel when she held bilateral meetings with them in Brussels today. Sheikh Hasina also requested Belgium to make a larger investment in Bangladesh, particularly in pharmaceutical, renewable energy and shipbuilding. During the meetings, the Belgium and Luxembourg Prime Ministers highly praised the unprecedented development of Bangladesh in the last 15 years under the dynamic leadership of Sheikh Hasina. During the bilateral meeting with the Prime Minister of Luxembourg, Sheikh Hasina called upon Luxembourg to help the baking sector of Bangladesh to be matured with exchanging their expertise as they are good in this sector. She has also sought more cooperation from Luxembourg as Bangladesh has excellent relations with the country. Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen, Information and Broadcasting Minister Dr. Hassan Mahmood, Private Industry and Investment Advisor to the Prime Minister Salman F. Rahman were present at the meetings among others. Later, the Foreign Minister briefed the newsmen. Press Secretary to the Prime Minister Ihsan al-Karim was present.
তারা বাংলাদেশের এই সাফল্য অর্থনৈতিক সাফল্য গত কয়েক বছরে যেভাবে হয়েছে তার অত্যন্ত প্রশংসা করে মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রী কেউ উনি এই ব্যবসায়িক দিকেও ঠিক ছাড়াও উনি বললেন যে আগামীতে ওনারা আশা করেন রিনিউয়েবল এনার্জি এবং মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রী বললেন শুধু রিনিউয়েবল এনার্জি না আমার শিপ বিল্ডিংয়ে আপনারা কাজ করতে পারেন আমরা এমনিতেই শিপ বিল্ডিং করছি তবে উন্নত মানের শিপ বিল্ডিংয়ে আপনারা আসতে পারেন আর আমি বিরাট পায়রা বন্দর তৈরি করেছি এগুলোতে ইউ আর মোস্ট ওয়েলকাম
Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina attended the closing session of the Global Gateway Forum in Brussels today. She exchanged greetings with the leaders who took part in the summit. The two-day Global Gateway Forum was held on October 25th and 26th. Representatives from European Union and participatory countries, financial institutions, private sectors, elites and different international organizations were present at the Global Gateway Forum. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina addressed the opening session of the Global Gateway Forum on Wednesday. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina will return home tomorrow after attending the Global Gateway Forum held on October 25th to 26th in Brussels. A commercial flight of the Biman Bangladesh Airlines carrying the Prime Minister and her entourage will depart the Brussels Zaventem Airport, Belgium at 10 p.m. local time tonight. The flight is scheduled to land at the Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport, Dhaka at 12:15 p.m. tomorrow. Sheikh Hasina reached Brussels, the capital of Belgium, on October 24th at the invitation of the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Jatiyo সংসদ today passed 3 bills, including Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib Medical University Amendment Bill 2023. Health and Family Welfare Minister Zahid Malik, Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs Minister Anisul Haq, on behalf of Finance Minister H.M. Mustafa Kamal and Housing and Public Works Minister Sharif Ahmed, moved the bills in the House, which were unanimously passed. The সংসদ session began with Speaker Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhry in the chair. Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib Medical University Amendment Bill 2023 was passed in a bid to extend the tenure of Vice Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellors and Treasurer to 4 years from 3 years. Besides, Sylhet Development Authority Bill 2023 was passed in Jatiyo সংসদ with a view to accelerating the development activities of Sylhet city, while Secure Transactions Movable Property Bill 2023 was passed aiming to expand bank loan accessibility. Besides, Father of the Nation Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Science and Technology University Nayanganj Bill 2023, Satkira Science and Technology University Bill 2023 and Lokhipur Science and Technology University Bill 2023 were placed in Jatiyo সংসদ aiming to develop professional expertise in science and technology education. Education Minister Dr. Deepu Moni urged the House to send these bills to the concerned Parliamentary Standing Committee for providing report within 3 days. Earlier, question and answer session was tabled in the Jatiyo সংসদ. Later, Speaker Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhry adjourned the House till 4 p.m. on Sunday. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina will open the Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Tunnel by unveiling a plaque on the west bank of River Kornofuli at Potenga on Saturday. The tunnel will be open to vehicles from October 29th. Project Director Mohammad Harun Rashid Chaudhry said the tunnel is expected to elevate Bangladesh into a new level of prominence in the world, as it is also the region's first ever under-river road tunnel. He said the tunnel will turn Chattogram city into one city with 2 towns, like Chinese city of Shanghai, as it will expand the periphery of the city, boosting economy and opening new doors of immense potentials for industrialization and expansion of trade and commerce, and developing road connectivity in the entire region. Federation of Bangladesh Chambers of Commerce and Industry President Mahabubul Alam said Bangladesh is going to enter the era of underwater road tunnel, which is of course a pride for the entire nation, as it will facilitate the business community hugely. The tunnel will connect the proposed Asian Highway with Dhaka Chattogram Cox's Bazar Highway by reducing distance by 40 kilometers, and it will also facilitate the ongoing and planned power and energy hub in Cox's Bazar, which is already a tourist hub of the country, he added. Awami League General Secretary and Road Transport and Bridges Minister Obaidul Qadir said BNP is openly issuing threats of violence. Awami League favors peace. However, if its peace rally comes under attack, leaders and activists will not sit idle, he added. Obaidul Qadir said Awami League is determined to save the lives and assets of its people. The minister was speaking at a press briefing at the Setu Bhavan in the capital's Bonani today.
The answer of violence is not silence. The answer of violence is violence. আমাদের রিলেশন আমরা বন্ধুদের শান্তপূর্ণ কিনা, যেটা নিয়ে কথা আছে, অবাধ নিরপেক্ষ হচ্ছে কিনা, তারা পর্যবেক্ষক হিসেবে দেখতে পারে, চাপ দিবি কেন? আমরা কখনো বিএনপি কোনো সভা সমাবেশের উপর আওয়ামী লীগ কোনো প্রকার হামলা বা কোনো প্রকার আক্রমণ আমরা কখনো করিনি। এখন যদি তারা গায়ে পড়ে আমাদের উপর আক্রমণ করতে আসে, তখন তো আমরা চুপচাপ বসে থাকবো? আমার কর্মীরা কি তখন শান্ত থাকবে? শান্তি সমাবেশ থেকে শান্তি সমাবেশে যদি হামলা হয় তাহলে কি হবে? কর্মীরা বসে থাকবে, পাল্টা হামলা অবশ্যই হবে।
Obaid al-Qadir said Bangabandhu Tunnel will be inaugurated on October 28th and movement of vehicles will start the next day at 6 in the morning.
আগামী 28 অক্টোবর বাংলাদেশের প্রধানমন্ত্রী দেশরত্ন শেখ হাসিনা এই টানেলের শুভ উদ্বোধন করবেন। উদ্বোধনী অনুষ্ঠান হবে পতেঙ্গা প্রান্তে, এরপর জনসভা হবে টানেল উদ্বোধন উপলক্ষে, সেটা হবে আনোয়ারা প্রান্তে।
The second janaza of former communication minister and former member of the parliament from Madaripur 3 constituency, Syed Abul Hussain, was held at Awami League Central Office at Bangabandhu Avenue in the capital this afternoon. People from all walks of life, including leaders and workers of Bangladesh Awami League and its associate organizations, took part in the janaza. Later, Awami League General Secretary Obaid al-Qadir placed wreaths at the coffin on behalf of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. He also paid respect to the late Syed Abul Hussain on behalf of Bangladesh Awami League. Central leaders of the party were present on the occasion.
Adul Makaram Dokkin, only one venue I mentioned. আর দ্বিতীয় কোনো কথা নেই, যেটা বলেছি সেটাই। অনুমতি দেওয়ার মালিক হচ্ছে পুলিশ। অনুমতি দেওয়ার মালিক যারা, তারা বুঝবে, আর এটা বিএনপি বুঝবে। এখানে আমরা তাদের সাথে সংঘাত করার দরকার, এটা তো আমাদের আওতায় না। আমরা অনুমতি চেয়েছি, আমাদেরকে অনুমতি নিতে হয়েছে।
The opposition leader in parliament, Begum Roshan Irshad, said political programs that cause sufferings to people and jeopardize their normal life should be avoided. In a statement sent to the mass media today, she said on October 28th, Dhaka city might see an impasse throughout the day as two political parties as well as an unregistered political organization called rallies on the major streets. The situation might stoke violence, putting people's lives at risk, she added. The opposition leader in parliament called upon all not to go for such a situation. She said every political party has democratic rights to hold programs. Similarly, common people also have rights for free movements. Roshan Irshad also said political gatherings should be held on specific grounds in the capital so that movement of people is not hindered. She called upon the police administration to ensure measures so that political parties can peacefully hold their programs on specific grounds. Begum Roshan Irshad also called upon all political parties to solve the fusion crisis through talks as per the constitution. Dengue situation is still a threat to the public health as 11 died during the last 24 hours in the country. A press release of the Directorate General of Health Services said among the dead, 5 were in Dhaka and 6 were outside Dhaka. 1,802 dengue patients were admitted to different hospitals across the country during the last 24 hours. Among them, 409 dengue patients were hospitalized in Dhaka city and 1,393 patients outside Dhaka. A fire broke out in a high-rise building at a busy place of Mohakali in the capital this evening. 11 units of the fire service are still working to douse the fire incident. According to the fire service control room, the fire service personnel rushed to the spot and started the firefighting work immediately after receiving the news of the fire on the 13th floor of Kaja Tower around 5 p.m. today. Many people in the 14-story building stayed on the roof when they got the news of the fire. Firefighters are working to rescue them. No casualties have been reported so far. Meanwhile, the Inter-Service Public Relations ISPR said that Army, Navy and Air Force personnel are working with the fire service to douse the fire at Khoja Tower. So far, no casualties were reported when the last report came in. Now moving on to international news. Israeli bombardment on the Gaza Strip is continuing, sometimes intensified. At least 13 people were killed and 15 more were injured as an Israeli missile hit a residential house in the city of Khan Yunis in the south of the Gaza Strip. There are 9 children among those killed. The Israeli army says it also conducted an overnight ground raid inside Gaza targeting Hamas positions using tanks. Reports say hospitals in Gaza are ceasing to function because they are running out of water and fuel for generators while being overwhelmed by huge numbers of casualties and civilians seeking shelter from Israeli bombing. At least 6,546 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli attacks on the Gaza Strip, while more than 1,400 people have been killed in Israel since October 7th. 2 more UN Security Council resolutions failed on Wednesday as the members could not agree on a ceasefire. Russia and China vetoed a US resolution that called for a pause to allow humanitarian aid access instead of a ceasefire. Other non-permanent members of the UNSC are now reportedly working on a new draft resolution to be put forward in the coming days. Meanwhile, EU leaders meet in Brussels today for a summit overshadowed by Hamas's war with Israel and the EU's failure to project a united front. European Council President Charles Michel says the deteriorating humanitarian situation in Gaza is of grave concern and the leaders are keen to facilitate access to food, water, medical care, fuel and shelter. After days of negotiations, a draft statement for the summit calls for continued, rapid, safe and unhindered humanitarian access and aid to reach those in need through all necessary measures, including a humanitarian pause. US President Joe Biden called for world leaders to develop plans for a path toward peace, including two-state solution when the Israel-Hamas war is over. The call came as US President Joe Biden and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese toasted their shared stand on Israel, Ukraine and China during a lavish state visit aimed at deepening their countries' century-old alliance. During talks in the Oval Office, the leaders discussed progress on the so-called AUKUS deal between Australia, Britain and the United States that will see Australia obtain nuclear-powered submarines. The trip also included announcements on technology and climate change, along with plans to boost internet links and maritime infrastructure in Pacific Island nations, where China has been trying to expand its influence. Russia's military has conducted a massive retaliatory nuclear strike drill hours after the upper house of parliament voted to revoke the country's ratification of a global ban on nuclear testing. The exercise, which involved the test launch of missiles from a land-based silo, a nuclear submarine from long-range bomber aircraft, was overseen by President Vladimir Putin. The drill comes 20 months since Russia began its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, with Putin and Russian officials giving mixed signals about the possible use of nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu has visited a command post near the front lines in the eastern Ukraine as fighting in the region intensifies in advance of the harsh winter season. He traveled to the Vostok command post in the east to be briefed on the developments at the front as Russian forces stepped up attacks, according to footage posted by the Ministry of Defense on Wednesday. The U.S. House of Representatives has elected Republican Mike Johnson as its Speaker after a turbulent 3 weeks that left the rudderless chamber unable to carry out its basic duties. The 220 to 209 vote on Wednesday elevated third-term Congressman Johnson to a Speaker's chair that has been vacant since Kevin McCarthy was removed on October 3rd by a small group of hardline Republicans in response to a deal with Democrats that averted a partial government shutdown. In the weeks that followed, Republicans who narrowly controlled the House considered the rejected possible replacements before settling on Johnson, backed by former President Donald Trump. At least 22 people have been reportedly killed and as many as 60 wounded after a gunman went on shooting spree in the northeastern state of Maine in the United States. The carnage in Lewiston, Maine began at about 7 p.m. local time when the first of at least 3 shooting attacks was reportedly. Police first received calls about a shooter at a bowling alley where a children's event was taking place. A short time later, another shooting struck a nearby bar and grill. A third shooting was reported at a Walmart distribution center shortly after 8 p.m. Sirens roared throughout the town following reports of a possible fourth shooting at about 9 p.m. City Councilor Robert McCarthy told broadcaster CNN that the death toll had risen from 16 to 22. And now some other international news in brief. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres on Wednesday rejected the misrepresentations of his remarks a day earlier on Palestinian grievances that infuriated Israel, which has vowed to retaliate against the world body. China's top diplomat opens talks Thursday in Washington as he readies a potential summit between Presidents Xi Jinping and Joe Biden, who ahead of talks vowed to defend Asian allies. U.S. President Joe Biden has warned China that the U.S. will defend the Philippines in case of any attack in the disputed South China Sea. The comments come days after 2 collisions between Filipino and Chinese vessels in the contested waters. A retired Taiwan Air Force colonel has been jailed 20 years for running a military spy ring for China. Liu Shengshu was convicted of recruiting other active duty officers to transmit military secrets to Beijing. China sent a fresh crew to its Tiangong space station on Thursday, in the latest mission for a growing space program that plans to send people to the moon by 2030. Now news on sports. Sri Lanka defeated defending champions England by 8 wickets in the ICC ODI World Cup in Bengaluru. As a result, England is on the way to be knocked out of the World Cup. The Lankans kept their semi-final hopes alive. Chasing a target of 157 runs to win, Sri Lanka scored the winning 160 runs, losing to 2 wickets with 146 balls. Remaining Faitham Nishanka scored an unbeaten 77 and Sadera Samawikrama scored an unbeaten 65. Batting first after winning the toss, England were bowled out for just 156 runs in 33 overs and 2 balls. Ben Stokes top scored with 43 runs. Lahira Kumara was adjudged man of the match for taking 5 wickets for 35 runs. To end the bulletin, headlines once again. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina asks all to remain alert so that none can cancel and make the next general election questionable. Prime Minister wants quota tariff-free access of Bangladeshi goods to Belgium, Luxembourg till 2032. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina returns home tomorrow, ending her 3-day visit to Brussels. Jatiyo সংসদ passes 3 bills including Bangabandhu Medical University Amendment Bill. BNP openly issuing threats of violence. Awami League determined to save people's lives and assets, says Obaidul Qadir. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to inaugurate Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Tunnel in Chattogram on Saturday next. Israel continues its raid on Gaza, raising Palestinian death toll to more than 6,000 and a half. And Sri Lanka beat England by 8 wickets in the ICC ODI World Cup in Bengaluru today. And that's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for staying with us.